whole idea about vibration and speaking about vibration and frequencies and so on and so forth. And the fact that, you know, if you've watched the channel before, you've obviously, you know, that I've got the divination stuff, the life coaching stuff. And then we moved and started to speak about vibration and the fact that I've got an app called Coherence. Okay, that's what it keeps on doing. I just realized now it's switching. All right, cool. Let's put you up here as well. Yeah, so we've got the Coherence app, which basically is a biofeedback, bioresonant therapy tool, basically. So I'm the only distributor in the UK that's live right now. I know there's some more distributors coming online, but I'm the only one where you can buy these sensors from in the UK. And yeah, been obviously setting that part of the business up, and that's going really well. So we sold out. Yeah, I made the hat myself. Yeah, so we sold out. And so I'm looking to make another order. Basically, obviously, we're going to be doing this continuously and scaling up the business, or that part of the business, basically. So yeah, we've got happier customers already, and we're in the process, obviously, of just getting that moving. So that's one of the things, is obviously setting up this biocoherence, which is, if you just look at the form factor alone, I'm not going to sell it now because, again, I've got other videos for that, but just from the form factor alone, what this does is this puts healing in your pocket, and really you just use the phone for the healing. So your phone is actually playing the frequencies, or whatever device you want to play the frequencies on, basically your phone 99% of the time. So this just does the scan. But again, this is portable, it's consumer friendly. You have the biofeedback, bioresonance, sound, vibration, sound healing, over 4,000 frequencies of healing, different parts of your mind, body, soul, spirit. It's obviously been setting that up, or that is basically set up. And then the wellness center as well. And then we basically open up the wellness center as well. So yeah, that's now open. So I officially launched that. Gonna get my first customers this week, basically. So yeah, obviously setting up a whole wellness center, that was a madness to set up. So yeah, that's really where my time has been going for the past 6 weeks, just getting all the technology, all the equipment, training, so on and so forth. And yeah, that was launched. I made a soft announcement launch on Sunday, on the new moon. Obviously had to move with the new moon in Libra. So that was some powerful energy that we brought through there, because the wellness center is called the Ma'at Vibrology Wellness Centre. So Ma'at being an ancient Egyptian deity of balance, being the ancient Egyptian deity of balance, obviously, then just coincidentally, you know, or kind of coincidentally, you know, new moon in Libra, obviously representing balance as well. So, you know, amplifying that intention, the idea, to bring it forth to where we are now, basically. And then segueing into what we're going to be speaking about today. So today, essentially last week, for some reason, I just had this idea. Well, I was reading these books, essentially. I've been reading some books as well to prepare myself. And then what I realized is that I just want my own philosophy of wellness. Like everything that I do, as you understand, you know, I always break down metaphysics to its most fundamental level, to the point where, you know, the most popular video that I've done is the fundamental physics. I can't remember what the video was on, but essentially it had in the title Fundamental Metaphysics. So this idea of looking at things from their prime energies, from their prime levels. So what is, from a reductionist perspective, if we were going to reduce things down to its essence, if we were going to reduce things down to its core, what does that look like? And so I just think, sorry for a second, you're acting bugged. Yeah, so what does that look like? And what it looks like essentially is, sorry, what I then did is applied that to the idea of wellness. So if I'm just breaking down wellness into its fundamentals, how does the idea of wellness fit into my other existing frameworks? Do I need to redesign them? Do they need to is there any coherence? Is there any synergy? So in understanding fundamental metaphysics, the skill that, you know, I've chosen to develop, whether out of a hobby or a necessity, it is what it is synchronicity, is understanding that the universe is connected, everything in the universe is connected. Essentially, how do I connect the dots between so-called different systems in a universe that is one, where the disease is the separation, is the illusion of separation. And so how do we bring things back into coherence? This is essentially what I'll be speaking about today, and reframing what most people think wellness actually is, and what healing actually is, what pain actually is. This is going to be a complete paradigm shift and a reframe based on my own ideas in fundamental physics, and then just luckily certain books that I've read that completely resonated. That if you took these ideas that I have from a fundamental physics perspective of oneness and the illusion of separation, and some of these other philosophies, if you've ever watched my channel, that I speak about, you know, repeatedly, how does that then manifest into something like wellness? How is that then applied to wellness as I'm opening up my wellness clinic? And so last weekend, I basically just decided to cohere these thoughts that I had in my mind for months, really. Maybe you could argue, but for months, and basically just wrote I don't even know what to say, maybe a book, an ebook level 20,000 word essay on or a treatise on a philosophy of wellness, basically, or my interpretation of the philosophy of wellness, essentially, or my philosophy of wellness. So yeah, that's what we're going to be going through today. And yeah, I'm just really excited to share it with people, because yeah, it's a game changer, as I like to say. So all right, cool. Without further ado, I'm just going to pull up my notes now, and then we are going to begin. Give me about another 2 minutes. I don't think I need 2 minutes, maybe about a minute to just pull up a couple of things, and then let's go. As usual, I'm only as powerful as the energy I receive. So, you know, anyone that's got any questions in the live chat, or anyone's got any questions in the live chats or comments or anything like that, I do read them every so often as I can. I always have the live chat up, unless I don't. I have the live chat up today, so yeah, let's go. And as usual, apologies for my tardiness in organization. There will be a day, as I always say, haha, must be a running joke by now, where everything will be set up beforehand. All right. Yeah, sorry, someone's asked in the chat, did I make my hat? The question is yes. Yeah, I made it myself. So yeah. And I was supposed to come with a new t-shirt today as well, but yeah, didn't quite get time. So yeah, next week I'll be revealing a new t-shirt that I've designed as well. I literally just finished designing it today. So I can't wait to rock that t-shirt. That t-shirt's got simple symbology, but just mad deep. Just mad deep for myself anyway. And people resonate with it, they resonate with it. But if they don't, well, I'm enjoying wearing it anyway. That's the most important thing. So all right, what I'm actually doing is just getting rid of a few screens, because I've got quite a few screens up, so I want to slow down my laptop basically. Also, as well, don't forget to like and like the video as well. It really does help with the algorithm. Obviously, when you're going live, you know, we're only a small channel and stuff like that, but there's been once or twice where definitely people putting the likes in the chat has helped push the algorithm, and then I get more viewers, and hopefully helps promote the video and the channel as well. So yeah, if you can like and subscribe, or just especially like the video, especially that's always a good thing as well. All right, cool. Let's go. All right, so just centering myself. Yeah, this is a big one. This is a big one. It's been an emotional couple of months, quite honestly. I mean, that's a great way to start, really. The title of the video. So a great way to start is by saying the title of the video: you did not come here to heal. We did not come here to heal. I did not come here to heal. And it doesn't feel like that half the time. So I'm saying these statements, obviously I'm saying these statements as a potential point of controversy, because I'm not doing it to just be facetious with it. I'm doing it because I'm paradigm shifting, and when I say I didn't come here to heal, I mean it 100%. But it doesn't mean that the lived, embodied experience doesn't feel like all you're doing is going on a healing journey. And so obviously I do spiritual life coaching. I speak to people all the time. I rarely don't do much else with my mind and my attention and my consciousness outside of certain chill time points than think, speak, be about these things. And when I'm speaking to people, they often frame it from a perspective of a healing journey. They speak about their pain, the emotional pain, the physical pain, the mental pain, the spiritual pain, the idea. Then they get solace in the fact that, as in they'll say to themselves unprompted, well, life is a test. God doesn't give you nothing you can't handle. All of these axioms and these things that are imprinted on their belief system that reinforce their beliefs and reinforce their actions and behaviors. And so what I'm noticing is a cycle, a healing journey where it becomes accepted as a part of life that is potentially going to exist as long as they do in the physical, especially because, well, this life is hell, or life is at the very least a test. Life is at the very least a neutral playing ground. And so, yeah, life is what you make it, but we are living in the dunya. We're living in the illusion. We're living in the simulation. We're living where, people don't have your best interests at heart. And so this narrative often, on one degree, it's building resilience, because God doesn't give you nothing you can't handle. And so we're still breathing, so that's a good thing. How am I doing today? I'm doing okay. I'm still breathing. I'm still here. That's an achievement in itself. I would say for me though, when I hear that, I would say that that's a statement that builds a foundation, or that builds a foundation from a perspective of someone that's in a survival mode, from someone that's in a fight or flight state. And so in any hierarchy of well-being, hierarchy of spiritual development, those statements are perfectly wonderful at a certain level. But what we don't want to be doing is accepting what we don't want to be doing is accepting these realities as fixed, permanent states of being. Like, it's okay for a moment because life, will throw lemons. Your ability to make lemonade obviously is where we're going with this, to a degree. That again is still part of this resilience mindset, because life is hard, life is difficult, of course. Like, literally, I may have mentioned, but I'm using this, the first time I ever used this, it spoke about an emotion, because it does your emotions as well. So it spoke about an emotion. Sorry, it spoke about an organ. It spoke about a specific organ that was strained, and I was like, I don't feel it being strained, So I was quite defiant, and then I realized that it was linked to something emotional that I had suppressed, and so I think I even spoke about it on one of my last videos, but I was still going through it, and from a potential observer perspective, it got worse. Let's just say, it was about as deep it was about as deep a shadow work that I've ever done. I would say, easily up there, and if life is a test, I was getting tested, like, on a ridiculous level. I was getting tested for the past couple of months. And the thing that's different, like, if anyone knows me personally, or if you kind of hear my vibes on the video, you could probably tell, it's not hard to discern kind of like how my energy is. But essentially, I'm not that much of an emotional person. It could be argued, or it's definitely been told to me. It's definitely been told to me that I'm not an emotional person. So I understand that as well. I understand why that would be said, and to a degree, I think it's actually true. And to a degree, I enjoy that aspect of myself. It just depends on how you're framing it yourself. Actually, in fairness, what do you mean by emotions? Because I mean different things. Again, I'm particularly in words, me. But either way, just however you want to take it, I went through my most emotional period ever, where and this wasn't an external force. There were external forces, but I chose to because of what this organ, what the emotional state of this organ showed me. I basically used this external environment as an opportunity to go deep into my emotions than I had ever been before. Like, again, how to transform chaos into a superpower. I did say that there's certain videos that I just reference often. One of the videos I reference often, literally I referenced it about 2 to 3 times this week to other people, is how to transform chaos into a superpower. It's one of my favorite videos. It's one of my favorite videos. And it's one of my favorite videos because I live by it. So, it's just one of those videos where I spoke from the heart. I put some mad metaphysics into it, and I spoke from the heart and spoke from experiences. I don't really speak about videos about emotion because, that's not necessarily my main bag, so to speak. But every experience is an opportunity. And the reason why I'm pausing actually is is the way in which I was able to overstand what was happening at the time to me, spiritually, metaphysically, is where I became real happy, you could even say. You know, moments of pride where even though I was going through a ridiculously quote unquote difficult time, I was able to keep sane. Which is like really important. Like, again, through my spiritual work that I do, the life coaching work that I do, just the conversation that I have out. I don't really do chit chat conversations. I'm always having deep conversations. It's just, you know, I won't say always, but, you know, often. And the idea of losing yourself, the idea of needing to find yourself is a consistent theme that I am speaking to people about. This idea of losing yourself. And I'm saying that it was one of those, I was in a situation where I could have easily lost myself. This is basically what I'm trying to say. And the skill, a lot of these are hinting, like I haven't even said what the video's about, but a lot of these I've already hinted. I'm already, as usual, hinting, I'm giving it away kind of thing to a degree. I was trying to hold back a little bit, but you know, this will all make sense. One day this will all make sense in this video. The tools, the skill in which I was, the skill and also the understanding, the overstanding of the moment, being able to take myself outside of my emotions, feel the emotion, dip into the emotion, go deep into the emotion. Like, nah, let's go deeper. Nah, that's not good enough. Let's go deeper. The amount of times I said, that's not good enough. Let's go deeper. You know, because I was trying to get to the core, as I was trying to get to the root. And anything that didn't feel like a root solution or a root problem or a root conversation, you know, I would hear it for a little bit, but I'm like, no, I need to go deeper. I need to go deeper. Something's not quite right here. And so it was a recognition of what right looks like, righteousness. What does righteousness look like? In those moments where you're being tested, what does righteousness look like in those moments where you're being tested? Because, you know, it's easy to act right when everything's going easy. This is why I always talk about it's easy to act right when things are easy. And so we move beyond the resilience to the ideas that I've spoken about before. So we're going to bring into some new stuff. But again, I'm kind of just catching people up. And if you've never watched the videos, any of my videos before, then everything that I'm kind of speaking about now, I've spoken about in the past, and we're going to bring in some new stuff. So I talk about the idea of being anti-fragile. This is what this video of how to transform chaos into a superpower is all about. And it was my ability to level up, understanding that this was a moment of leveling up, but I can't level up if I only go in half-hearted. As I have to go all the way in, regardless of how painful it is, you know, physically, emotionally. And you know, takes a lot of you know, like willpower. You know, takes a lot of willpower to be able to do that on a consistent basis. And so what this and so what today's video is about giving you, is about reshaping the idea of life. I got another key to life, basically. Just, I don't know why I didn't start with that, but that came, yeah, I've got another key to life that I can add now to my fund, to my, I don't even know, my library, in the hall of, what are we gonna call it? My library in the hall of fundamental metaphysics, basically, in the section called fundamental physics. So I've got keys basically that add towards that you know, I'm really, really, really happy to share with everyone today. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. I think I'll speak today. Like I've prepared best. Like I said, I've got literally a 60-page book. I've got like a 3,000 word version. I've got a 2,000 word. I don't know. I've got so much stuff I've built like recently. But I think I'm just gonna speak more than show slides. I might show some stuff, but it's not really slides. It's just I can just speak about it basically. So basically, what I say. So let's just scale it back to where one of my most important videos are, when I talk about the importance of creating your own universe. The fact that we are co-creators of our universe. So this is a participatory universe. This is a relational universe. This is a universe that exists to know itself. So again, these are all my opinions. It's a dime a dozen. Who am I? If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, then you're not going to stay on this channel for long, because everything that I speak to comes from a set of beliefs. And I always say that there's knowing and that there's beliefs. And at some point, you've got to have some beliefs before you can get to the know. They may not be as so as important, but it's also what motivates you. And at some point, there is always at least one belief that will be part of your system. And the level of the level of coherence of how that one belief then flowers into your whole body of knowing, your whole experience, is everything. And so what I teach is how to build beliefs that will give you a coherent existence. So I'm not fussed into what you believe in. Are your beliefs coherent? Is that prime belief? So, you know, I speak about the optimal primes, which is like my version of the tree of life, let's just say. And are the beliefs, the values, specifically the beliefs, are they coherent and consistent? And are they manifesting? Can you see them in your life, essentially? Are they valuable? Do they add value to your life? So I'm basically saying that my belief is that the universe exists to know itself under the principles of oneness, essentially. That's just literally my philosophy and my belief in a nutshell. And so the universe is mental is obviously then one of the core maxims within my framework. I haven't invented none of these things. These are just me observing and reading, you know, whatever, and living and just settling and then embodying. And so in a universe that's mental, the only thing of value is your attention. It's one of my favorite lines that I barred myself. You know, I repeat it ad nauseum. It's good, it means consistency. And it means that it's embedded and encoded into my system. And so I've had that for a couple of years. Like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years. I've had that as a statement, as a reaffirming statement. In a universe that is mental, the only thing of value is attention. And I speak about the meaning of life, like we're in a meaning crisis. So I'm obviously just building up to where we are now, like. And then so I speak about a meaning crisis and the fact that one of the most important things that you can have in life is meaning. So even an unhappy parent is more happier than a single person who is, you know, got loads of money but has no one to share it with, for example. You know, so these are like classic, you know, research papers that have been done on happiness and meaning and value. And essentially the meaning, there is a meaning crisis now. I'm not going to go over it. You know, if that resonates, it resonates. If not, go watch some of my older videos. But what I know so I'm basically reading this book, and it says this one line that just was like, yeah, that's it. Like, of course. That's like, of course. So biocoherence, again, this app, you know, get to know. If you don't know, fair enough. But anyway, this biofeedback app that I am a distributor of, you know, has a book. His wife has a book because his wife is the clairvoyant and practitioner. So she writes a book, and essentially what I've realized is it's a love story. I've realized that this biocoherence app is a love story from basically his wife, who basically has this philosophy because she's a clairvoyant, and again she sees healing in a completely different way to most people. So in this book, anyway, I'm reading this book. It's an incredible book, like mind-blowing synchronicities. I wouldn't even say synchronicities, just coherence, just relevance and realization, but not really too much realizations. It's more relevance. Like literally my fundamental some of the key components within my fundamental metaphysics are said literally verbatim in this book. I'm just like, rah. It's just like, yo. And then, you know, it goes on to build layers from those foundations, but literally we had the same foundations. And one of the foundations to her, big up King Supreme every time. So one of the fundamentals to what she said, it was like early in the book basically, and she only ever said it once. She never mentioned it again. It was just almost like one of those throwaway kind of comments, just, and then kept it moving. But essentially for me, what it's done is it's answered. So I often speak about attention and intention. So obviously I'm saying the only thing of value is attention. So then what should we be putting our attention on? Where should it go? Well, that would then come from your divine will, you know, your willpower. So basically in this book, it says that the 3 things that you should focus on is love, wisdom, and will. And my one is love, wisdom, and power. And obviously will is power, willpower, basically literally the same thing. Yeah, no, bro. Like, yeah, King Supreme. Literally, I've just went live today. Today's the first time I've been live for 7 weeks, 6 weeks. I took a hiatus to build a few things. I spoke about it earlier in the video if you want to check it out. But yeah, I've built a whole bunch of new stuff, and it just required me to just fully focus on that and not work with the YouTube channel. So, but I'm back now, and I'm going to be consistent back on YouTube every week, as I was before. But yeah, that's why you're not been getting updates. I've been missing. But working, like, I got bare goodies today. Bare goodies. Yeah, big ups every time. So, yeah, like I said, well, what should be our focus then becomes the question. So, the universe exists to know itself. And, you know, I've mapped that out already. You know, go watch some of my earlier videos, the Infinite series, absolutely mapped that out. Just pattern that. And then, okay, cool. So we're living. What are we doing? Like, well, what are we doing with our time? We're here. We're living. We understand that the universe is mental. What are we doing with our time? And so for me, the answer starts from, as usual, my entry point into spirituality, into consciousness, was focusing on death. Like, I used to have dreams of death. This is like, you know, the dreams of the world blowing up, basically. Reoccurring dreams of the world blowing up in different ways. This is my entry point into spirituality. I was forced into it at a young age. Like, okay, so what happens when we die, essentially? And so, shout out to Brother Panic, as always, How to Die and Not Come Back. Go watch that video. Always legendary, absolutely legendary videos. Anyway, How to Die and Not Come Back. Or what happens when we die, obviously, is the first question. How to die and not come back then becomes the answer. And it becomes real clear then when you're understanding the fundamentals that in a universe that's mental, the only thing you can take with you when you die is your consciousness. I mean, I know these things should be obvious, but when we slow them down and we crystallize these ideas, crystallize these thoughts, meditate on these thoughts for weeks, months, years, you know, I've that concept, that idea, that curiosity has been in my mind for 30 years, easily 30 years. You know, I'm building layers on this one question, on this one idea. And it must then speak, and it was in the book. So in the book, it's like, well, then the only, I can't remember how it was framed. I can't remember because it was more me just like adding onto it, but it just, I don't even know. It just definitely said this thing, and I'll just spit it out now. It was like, also, I just say it in my words. So I can't remember what the book said. I should have got when I got it up, but it was like, what I'm saying is, well, then the only thing that you want to do is improve the quality of your consciousness, people. That's it. The only thing that we should really be doing when we're okay, attention, value, attention is value, attention. We'll get there. So how do you improve the quality of your consciousness? What else are we doing? The only thing that we can take with us when we die is our consciousness. So the cultivation of our consciousness should be the only focus. I'm not going to use the word only, but like, you know, you do it to your degree that you're comfortable with. As I said, my favorite book speaks about 98% focusing on that inner work. 98%. So, you know, that's quite scary for most people. I get it. You know, you have to work with where you're comfortable. But, you know, I'd argue that it should be more than 50%. I'd make a strong argument that it should be over 50%. The quality of your consciousness. The focus on the quality of your consciousness. So I feel, so what we're basically saying is that the quality of your, so what I've been working on basically, so what I did today is I worked out a formula. So there's a book called The Happiness. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into how much I'm going to get into it today, because like I said, it's going to be a two-parter, and I feel like I'm going to go deeper into it next week because I still want to work out a few things. But I mean, this is like so hot off the press. This is literally only 3 to 4 hours ago I came up with this idea of coming up with a formula that could measure the quality of consciousness. And so I've patterned it, but I want to build layers on top and around it. So I'm going to have to mention it today because it's fundamental foundations. It's going to be a foundation basically. So I'm going to mention it. I'm going to speak about, I may not speak about the formula because it might lose a few people, but essentially I'm going to speak about the components of the formula, the elements that make up the formula basically. Because yeah, I've been saying it to people this week. I've been saying it to people, like all my clients I've been speaking to, random people as well. I've just been asking a question. So I want you for a whole week, and I'll just give you this one now, just for a whole week. Just be mindful of your interactions and just assess the quality of your consciousness. I don't think I'm going to give you a lot of formula today. I think I'll save that for part 2 because I've got a lot to get through. Literally, I only thought of this idea today to put it into a formula because obviously I'm about Ma'at, and Ma'at is Ma'afs. And so maths is about how you balance life, and how you balance life is by understanding formulas. This is essentially what I do, which again was even really just crystallized today, just absolutely crystallized in terms of what one of my key projects in life is to do, is to just build out these formulas and just share them with people in a real way in which they could just take it for themselves. So, let's circle back. So now we're going to circle back to what I was actually going to teach today. So none of that stuff that I just said there for the past X amount of minutes was going to be part of today. But you know, we always go with divine timing, and I literally just got inspired, just divine inspiration as usual. Just hit me as I had built all my slides, and I was just ready to go. I wasn't even going to think about this lecture because I had built all my slides from naturally just through writing these books and stuff, basically, and this content. So like I've launched my website for my wellness center, and I've basically got 4 pillars. So I want to speak about the 4 pillars, and I want to speak about one other key pillar that feeds the foundation of this philosophy, and it comes from this book called Prology. So I'm gonna just put the name in because it's a new word. It's like a made-up word. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. If you want to go buy the book, you can go buy the book. I'm not making no money from it, but the book is nuts. If you're into the Biocoherence app and you're also into philosophy, then this book is like perfect, basically. But I'm just going to speak about one theme from the book. Well, I'll speak about a couple of themes in other parts, but the main one theme from the book is based on what the name is, Prology, and it's essentially understanding life as a project. It's essentially, let me repeat that again. So it speaks about life being a project. Let me put the light on. There you go. Why not? Get some light up in the place. So it speaks about light. It speaks about life, the project of life. And the fact that, which is what I've been saying for the longest, and which is what I understand, which is the illusion of separation makes you think that life is a test. As my cousin Shane said when I dropped to him this whole, Shane is my cousin who I always drop my concepts to, and I get them fresh off the press. So I phone him up and I'm like, yeah, bro, got got a new one. I got a new one for you. Vote, let's go. So whatever, we have an hour conversation, whatever, whilst he's working. He has to get back to work. It's only an hour, quick one. So anyway, I'm dropping it, and he's like, yeah, because obviously life isn't a test. So I'm saying that life is not a test. That's like one of the ways in which they trick you. Life is not a test. It's like, yeah, no, of course life is not a test, because the way how 99% of people, when they say it, is that something outside of you has set up a test, and whether you pass or fail dictates your success in life. And if you're from a religious background, it basically means that you go to hell if you fail the test of life, and you go to heaven if you pass the test of life. And so it goes back to the God in the sky concept, which obviously my oneness belief system doesn't speak to. It just doesn't, that doesn't cohere. So I understand that as a very coherent framework, but my framework focuses on oneness, and the universe is mental. One of the craziest things I found out, I can't believe I missed it, but it is what it is. Like, you know, things come at perfect divine timing. But one of the things that blew my mind, that I won't forget, and again, I'll just repeat it until I go see now, is it was all as usual in the words. It was all in the spell. The spell, the spell was the illusion of separation. As I said, for me, is the fundamental disease of all diseases. All diseases stem from a separation, an illusion of separation, a fracturing, a disassociation, a schizophrenia. And the schizophrenia and the dumbing down of education to the point where we don't really truly know what words mean. And I'm talking about from an etymology perspective now, obviously, you know, because they don't teach etymology. They teach connotation, not denotation. So they teach the latest version of what the word means, not the original version, which is where the essence, the root, of the word actually is. And in it, we have the word individual. So I'm looking at this word individual. I'm gonna have to pull this one up on the screen because I feel like it's almost unbelievable, to be honest, because it's like the opposite of what you think. Individual. So most people in my mind connotatively think that individual. Most people, I would imagine, think that individual means separate. Like, oh, how did it just come up? All right, yeah, let's go. Let me share a screen. Let me do a little share. Let me do a little screen share quickly. So yeah, most people, I imagine, are going to think that individual means separate. And it literally just came up in the synonyms as well. So, and a good way to know what the connotation is as well is if you put synonyms as well. So it's a little trick. So look, individual means separate, lone. But I would say that most people think that individual means separate. Like, I'm an individual, you're an individual, this other person. Like, there are many individuals. That's what I would imagine most people connotatively think, as in the latest version of what the word means. So I would say most people think that with the word individual means separate. And as we just said, the illusion of separation, as in separate, the illusion of separation is the root of all diseases, or so-called diseases. The illusion of diseases. I'm getting to it. The illusion of disease. What's he speaking about? Hold on, we'll get there. The illusion of disease. So now let's go to etymology. So etymology is the root word, yeah? Just to show that I'm not making this stuff up. Like, we'll just show it in real time. The word individual has its origins in Latin and has evolved over time. You don't say. You don't say. The word individual has its origins in Latin and has evolved over time. Its etymology includes the following points. Anyway, early yada yada yada. Let's just keep it middle. Borrowed from Latin individuals, shift in meaning. Shift. Oh right. Oh wait, actually said it. Sorry. It basically meant some indivisible. What? I don't know. Tell me. I don't know if anyone's watching. I don't know if anyone's live in this group chat. But yeah, let me know if anybody thought that the word individual meant indivisible. Indivisible. Because when I hear indivisible and I understand it from a metaphysics perspective, I'm saying that there is the indivisible one. This idea of oneness is the indivisible, the undivided. That's why I call it the illusion of separation, because it's an illusion. There is no separation. There is only one. And we create ourselves, and the Fibonacci sequence is the perfect metaphor and expression of self or autopoiesis or self-replication. The one creating the one, the I and I. There you go. So it's indivisible. So you are an individual. We the individual. Oh, yo, we barring. I'm writing that one down. Yeah, we're definitely writing that one down because I just got my yeah, I got my energy signature. Yeah, got to write that one down. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm actually writing that down because sometimes I actually forget to write these stuff down. Again, these videos are as much for me as they are for you. Trust me on that one. We the individual. It's like the royal we. So if you understand the royal we. So this is bringing back the royal we. we the individual, taking back the rightful meaning of the word, which is indivisible. So we're reclaiming this word for those who so choose. I've given you a key. I don't know. I've never heard anyone speak about this before. So yeah, we the people. There you go. We the people. People coming from person, I imagine, quite honestly. I would need to understand what I can't help myself. What's the etymology of people? Yeah. As you know, completely left field, because I had no idea I was going to be getting into any etymology today. Okay, no. People is populace. Okay, people is not person. Okay, cool. We don't need to go there. Few. Because that was going to take me down another rabbit hole. So yeah, we can go back on track. But how we divide, yo, King Supreme. Yeah. Like I said, like and subscribe, like, because I only speak about things from oneness. This is why it takes me so long to do everything, because the world is just entangled in full up of division. The world literally is a place to get you believing in the Maya, which is the separation. So we're getting stuck in the Maya. And so to untangle that, to get back to the oneness, for me, that is the paradox or the conundrum or the difficulty in life. For me, this is just a me thing. Like, again, some people are going through healing journeys. That's not me. I'm not going through a healing journey, as I'll explain. But for people that are going through a healing journey, okay, cool, that'll take you a lifetime to get over your trauma, potentially. Who knows? Inshallah, you get over it, sooner. But for me, the great question is, how does the one become many, and how does the many become one? And for me, the Fibonacci sequence is the perfect metaphor and expression of how you can grow and expand as the one, from the one, into the so-called many. And but I understand it though. So I'm also reading the group chat as well. The group chat, King Supreme's, yeah, it's a conversation. So yeah, I'm reading everything, and we have grace, and it's not difficult to view yourself as different to me. This is what part of the challenge was. Like, when I was going through this shadow work, like I mentioned, I was going through some mad shadow work, like mad external environmental quote unquote chaos. Let's just say, I don't want to get too deep into it, but like, it's going through mad. I had to go deeper than ever before, basically. I had to go into the well. But I did it gladly. This is the thing. I did it gladly. Like, I want to say I was smiling through it, but kind of was smiling through it. It's kind of difficult to explain, because it makes it sound like I'm sick or something if I explain how much I was. Do you know what I mean? But like, you just have to catch it in the moment, like, and it will be okay. But to like explain it to most people, it will sound alien. Like, how are you going through pain and enjoying it? How was you still able to be joyful and graceful and grateful? Maybe not all times. Sometimes I had to let it out and whatever, but and that was fine. I was okay with not being okay. Yo, Jar 9. I'm going to be okay. And that's yo, big tune. I'll be banging that tune out this week. I'm going to be, because I went to Jar 9's concert. Obviously, that was if you ever watched my first video on YouTube, shout out to Jar 9. It literally was a story. And I meet Jar 9 in the flesh on some mad synchronicity day. The day of synchronicity, basically. Wherever that day was, the day of synchronicity. I need to actually celebrate that day. I need to celebrate that. I'm going to go look it up, because I know it was in the summer. The day of synchronicity. So yeah, I'm gonna go check that after the video. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, let's get back on. A bit of a tangent, but individual means indivisible. It is actually ridiculously important, because we're now not looking at health and sickness. So what I'm trying to say, where I'm going with this basically, is we're no looking at things as, this thing is unhealthy, let me kill it. This thing is healthy, let me love it. We're looking at wellness from a oneness perspective. What does wellness mean from a oneness perspective? That's essentially what this book and I answer and discuss today, basically. So we're basically saying that life is a project. So life is a project. So prology means the study of life as a project, or something like that. I can't remember how they described it, but whatever. Life is a project. And so the reason why I love that is because I have this, again, I didn't make it up, but form follows function. So this is architecture, sacred geometry, you could say. Form follows function. So on one aspect, there is only one, or at the very least, we are co-creators of our own reality. We are the co-creators of our own reality. And so at the very least, yeah, we project our own reality based on what we emanate, based on who we are. So who we are is not a disease. Who we fundamentally are, the quality of our consciousness, is not a disease. That is like in a system of hierarchy, from a systems thinking perspective, that lower order manifestation into the physical body will be felt as a disease. It will be felt as pain, but the project itself is just one project. That project is dictated by its form. So a circle, depending on its size, is not really good for holding things on top of, because it rolls too much. You know, let's go with a light circle, or, you know, a light table that's standing upwards round. Whereas a square is good for holding things, or legs. So form follows function. So when you're ill, so-called ill, I'm going to just use words like ill and sickness and disease, just to, you know, because they're common words. But when we're ill, or when we feel ill, that's an opportunity to remind us of our project, whether we feel like we're on point or not on point. It's an idea, it's a reminder for us to get back into balance and get back on mission based on our form. And so, you know, I say controversial statements like life has no meaning. And to cut a long story short, obviously that's a video. You know, I can't remember what that video was, but that's one of my YouTube videos. Something around life has no meaning. I'm essentially saying that life has no one meaning that is defined by a God above that's dictating to you that you should do this. Again, this whole life is a test, this whole, you know, struggle being a good thing. For me, it's just like acceptance. It's like an acceptance of struggle, like an acceptance that survival is basically the baseline, almost like the ceiling. Well, I survived. You know, obviously the rhyme is from survive to thrive. Like, that would be obvious, you know, hopefully, people. Huh. Yo, Storm, I know you. Oh, yo, Storm is in the building, yeah? Yo, big up to my young god, Storm. Yo, in the building. Big up yourself. Enough respect. Wow, Storm is in the building. Yeah, that's a new connect. That's a new connect. Yeah, that's a new connect. Yeah, that was mad. That was good, innit? Anyway, let's keep it moving. We'll start going on tangents. But yo, that was a connect. That was mad. Yeah. So this idea of illness is just a reminder, something telling you that your system is decoherent. It's not on mission. And they should be welcomed, basically. So it's like literally. So that's what I'm trying to say. So when I'm going through the shadow work, or when I'm going through the external pain, well, that's because I didn't deal with it internally. And so like my mother always told me, those who can't hear will feel. Those who can't hear will feel. And so what did we say? I wasn't in coherence. I wasn't in coherence. And so now I have to feel. And so now I have to feel the pain, the disease, the illness, the sickness, the punching in the face, the feeling of survival, because for some reason I chose not to be resonant with the moment. I chose not to be willful in my signature that I was designed for. I didn't recognize the signs of my signature. Say that one again. I didn't recognize the signs of my signature. So my signature emits signs in the feedback loop of the relational universal mirror, the projection, the fractal. I didn't read the signs. Sign language. No words are needed for sign language. The form. Yeah, those punches, yeah, they're painful, bro. No one likes to get punched in the face. Everyone's got, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. That's called integrity, people. What he's speaking about there is integrity. Everyone's got a plan. Life is a project, yeah? And then it throws the lemons at you. Everyone's got a plan, and then that plan goes out the window. Why is that? Why do the plans go out the window? Because the plan wasn't really worth the paper it was written on in the first place. That's why. How can you make up a plan that doesn't assume you're going to get punched in the blood clot face? How can you make up a plan? How can you make a plan that doesn't assume that you're going to get punched in the face? You wasn't prepared. It had to get ripped up. So what I'm trying to say is when you're so online, when you're so on point with your purpose, the external influences, I won't say they don't matter, because matter is physical. Those who can't hear shall feel, you know, matter. But it's an opportunity to retune, not to throw away the book. It depends on what level you are obviously on. This is what I'm trying to say. I can't really, this is where we do individual work. This is why, you know, hit me up for a reading, book a 10-minute taster. I normally give 15 minutes. Haha. if you know, you know. But anyway, whatever. But yeah, I have a link tree in the description. I think I put it in there. If not, it will be after the chat and after this. And hit me up because because I need to just listen to you. Like I had a conversation the other day. I don't want to blow them up, but I had a conversation the other day. And essentially, I was like, "Well, I don't really need the reading. What is your plan?" They told me about their problem. I was like, "So what's your plan?" You know, I did go back to the reading eventually, but well, my mum says it way better because she says it with a patois. So my mum says it way better, like way better. Like when my mum says it, yo, it's a bar. But But yeah, those who can't hear shall feel. Like, yeah, that's a bar. So big up to my mumsy. So I ain't even gonna lie, yeah. I haven't even got to the first slide. I think I'm maybe on the first slide. I haven't even read the first slide. I even know. Yeah, I haven't even got. Yeah, there's definitely, like I said, there's definitely needs to be a part 2 because right now we're just riffing. We're just. I knew it was gonna be one of them videos. Like I haven't spoke for 6 weeks. What do you expect? If you know me, it's just an outpouring of expression. So let me actually look at some of my notes. Let me see what I got. Yeah. Jamaican background. Yeah, Caribbean. Shout out to St. Kitts and Montserrat as well. From my grandma's side and my granddad's side on the other side. Also from my mum's side, basically. And then my dad is Jamaican, basically. Like born. Anyway, yeah. All right, cool. So life is a project. Hopefully that's understood now. To a degree. Like that could get chopped up for like another hour quite easily. To be honest. But I kind of want to move on because I realized I literally haven't got past the first slide. You could almost say I haven't even started. I've kind of just warmed up. What we're looking to do in life is we're looking to bring into Ma'at, into balance, into truth, into an equilibrium, into an equanimity. All of these words are just synonyms. Choose the one that resonates with you or your own one. All aspects of our being. It's that simple. And I'm not going to go to the astral dimensions and, you know, those levels. I'll just keep it real simple on a first tier level, spirituality level, which is your mind, body, emotions, and spirit. How do we cohere our mind, body, emotions, and spirit now in a way that is always speaking to the inner standing of life being a project based on the vibration in which we are vibrating at. That's essentially all it is. And so, you know, using a biofeedback device, divination to understand the snapshot of your time or a snapshot of the moment, being present with the moment, you know, it's what life is about. With the idea to improve the quality of your consciousness. I could have just shorted this up. I don't know if I put this into shorts. I'd love, yo, bro. Bit too lazy to do shorts and stuff. But like, yeah, or busy to do shorts. But that essentially is it. The last, whatever, 60 seconds that I just spoke about. That's essentially it. And what we want to do is we want to move away from this idea of having to heal ourselves. It's quite difficult because obviously if you're going through trauma, like literally I've spoken to 2 people today, you know, one person is crying on the phone, you know, to me about how overwhelmed they are with life and all that life is throwing at them. And then the other person, actually in fairness, is feeling a little bit better to where she was when she was crying, feeling the pain. Like this is real pain, and these are not like tears of like self-pity, they're tears of like pain. You know, I don't need to speak on the situations, but I'm just saying, you know, we've all been there, tears of pain. And in those moments, it's difficult not to be compassionate to this idea that life is a problem, life is a test, life is painful, and that all I'm trying to do is solve my problems. Give me a solution, give me pain relief, essentially. Yeah, definitely trust issues with these two, but they also lie to themselves. So, do you see what I mean? Like, just by the way, so anyone that comes to me for life coaching, I don't see anyone as a victim, because I only see oneness. So I will never speak from a place where I will put you in a victim position. That's just me personally. So if you want that kind of self-pity stuff, you just don't speak to me. Just basically. But essentially, even in those moments, I'm just saying, someone's on the phone crying to me, two people that in their past two conversations have been crying, and at no point am I saying that these things that they're going through in this moment is a problem. Their crying wasn't a problem either. I had no issue with them expressing their emotions at the time. Had no issue with it. I allowed it. I opened the space for it. I asked questions that provoked it. So then why would I then want to repress the tears for? Be resilient of the tears. Just what I mean? So even resilience is a lower form. That's what I'm trying to say. Resilience becomes a lower form order of healing, is what I'm trying to say. I'm saying it's okay, survival mode level of existence and a medium level of existence, in my opinion. Again, take what I say as a pinch of salt. But, again, if you're speaking to me and you're working to me, I'm only going for the highest levels. It's just the highest quality of consciousness. That's what I'm going to be provoking in people. And, I might do it over time. I might not do it in that moment. Like, obviously everything has to be in divine timing and in timing, but essentially that's what we're going for. And when you understand that all is self and self is all, then there are no problems. There's just feedback. The universe is a mirror. It's just feedback. Life is the self looking at the self, experiencing self, going through self to return to self. I can't remember if I said that perfect. Like, there is actually a perfect way to say that. And I probably say it differently every single time. But something like that, basically. Every part of that potential desire to want to separate is just a part of self expressing itself as self, through self, with self, by self, from self, up self, down self, right self, left self, whatever self. All is self, self is all. Shout out to Seven Bowma. So we only see feedback. And so I put your question in there again, just wanting your thoughts to make it home. So when you think, I was going to answer a question in the chat. Sorry, do you want me to answer this question? You think it's when you find out you've been lied to for so long? Is that the question? Just put yes in the chat, or is that or a heart, if that's the question you want me to answer. So the Fibonacci sequence often and it expresses itself many ways. It expresses itself in many ways. But one of the ways in which the Fibonacci sequence is expressed is in the golden spiral. This idea of life being a spiral. So in a universe that's mental, spiral galaxies make sense. It's a form of coherent expression. Perfect coherent expression. And what that system does is it allows for a feedback loop at all times. It allows for the opportunity for every moment to be a feedback loop where you can be resonant and level up the quality of your consciousness. I would love to get feedback from people on this one, because obviously sometimes I go into like deep metaphysics and pretty advanced stuff. You know, I don't know what people's version of advanced is, but sometimes I feel like I could go to some advanced levels and speak about like otherworldly stuff. But for me, this one is quite a grounded, foundational, primal teaching, and I don't want to lose anyone. Like, how can we just observe the quality of our consciousness in the moments, all moments, the joyful ones, and obviously especially the so-called difficult ones. So there are no more symptoms, they're signals. Well, the reason why I'm calling this video a paradigm shift, sorry, I call this video a paradigm shift for anyone that received the free words. I kept on using the word paradigm shift because the ways in which we normally see health, sickness, I've flipped on its head with each word. I've broken each level down to allow you to create a new dimension, create a new reality for yourself, to encode, you know me, from decode to encode. How do we express that? Like I said, yeah, like I definitely need to come back with a part 2 because I was just getting into RNA. I need to write that one down as well because I forgot that one. I didn't even get to that level because I just ran out of time. But yeah, RNA messengers. I'm gonna break that down on a mad level next week. RNA messengers. Thank you. So yeah. Yeah, so we go from encoding. So yeah, where others see symptoms. So this is all right. So look, let me actually just read out what this actual message says, because I did write stuff. Here at the Ma'at Vibrology Wellness Centre, we practice a different kind of healing. So this is the healing centre that I've opened up. At Ma'at Vibrology Wellness Centre, we practice a different kind of healing. Vibrology. I made that word up, by the way. That's my word. Obviously, the study of vibration. Vibrology is both an art and a science, a way of understanding yourself as a vibrational being. It recognizes that your mind, body, emotions, and spirit are all woven together through the subtle rhythms and energies. It's not about escaping life's demands, but learning to spiral with them, with greater awareness, harmony, and a touch of playful curiosity. This isn't a dogma. It's a shift in perception. Where others see problems, we see feedback. Where others see symptoms, we see signals encoded with meaning, calling you back to return to self. That's all I've got up to so far in the lecture, by the way. I haven't even looked at anything else. That's all I've explained so far. Yo, I'm taking a mic today. I'm taking a mic. Definitely need a part 2. What's the time? Let me look at the time. 9 o'clock. All right, cool. Let's keep it moving. How is everybody? Let me just look at the messages. How is everyone? Yeah, when you spoke about people being in victim mode, and then yeah, I mean, personally, this is just my way of teaching, so it's not everybody's cup of tea. But because, again, it's just more about the fact that I try to live a coherent life as much as possible. I really try as hard as possible to live in coherence. because I remember the time when I was serving many masters. And I definitely remember, and I always speak about the time when I was serving more like a career, sales, get money lifestyle, and then a spiritual metaphysics lifestyle. And there was no coherence. It was just one world was there, one world was there. You know, so I'm speaking from experience, you know, and I earned a lot of money relatively, you know, obviously money's relative, but for me, it was the most money I had ever earned in my life. But it caused a disassociation and it caused a fracture that meant that it didn't last long. It was an incoherent wave that I had created. My expression was incoherent, so it wasn't built on the foundation of an infinite game. Obviously, I didn't know this at the time. Through wisdom and looking back and, you know, so on and so forth, and growth. But at the time, I thought it was the best thing to do, because anytime I tried to think spiritual, it would always mess up my money. This is just like literally the story. Every time I went spiritual, I'd basically quit my job because I can't be bothered with this. Well, what is money? I'll take it with me when I die. Basically, it was basically my battle. It's just like, get some money. Ah, what's the point of money? No, I can't take it with me when I die. Blah. I've got everything I need. So on and so forth, you know. Simple-ish, man. Depending on who you ask. Haha. So anyway, we try to live life as coherently as possible. And so what we're basically saying is that we at Vibrology, now I'm actually reading my notes, we at Vibrology invite you to become an active participant in your journey. This is before I was trying to say, like, forget this whole thing about a healing journey. It actually wrote healing journey. Not just decoding life's patterns, but learning to encode your reality with intention, energy, and love. You are not here to survive your story. You're not a victim. You're not a victim of your story. That's a narrative. That's a narrative that you have allowed to enter into your being. It's a projection. There is never a time when I've ever heard a story and I couldn't flip the narrative if I so choose. If I so chose, apologies. That doesn't mean that I will do it all the time, because, like, you know, sometimes it could be insensitive. Genuinely, you know, I try to say things that people are ready to hear. You know, I like to say shocking statements just to see how people, again, to see how people's spirits move. You know, you call out a spirit, you know, you basically send a spiritual signal into the world and you see how it's received. You know, so I will often play the advocate, an opposition advocate. I will often play an opposite advocate to the energy that that person is feeling, to see how they react. One of my things that I do. I used to do it a lot when I was younger. Like, uncompassionately. This is just one of my shadows, but that was me. I used to do it uncompassionately back in the day. Could say I used to gaslight people. A 16-year-old me was gaslighting for fun. Just for fun. But they would know that I was gaslighting though, because I'd be laughing about it whilst I'm saying it. But, you know, anyway. This was before the word gaslighting existed. So it's just a 16-year-old me getting into debates and challenging people. But anyway, whatever, let's go back. So, you're not here to survive your story. You're here to compose it with resonance, rhythm, and will. You're not here to survive your story. You're here to compose it with resonance, rhythm, and will. And then I had this idea of because you said the will being the ill. Yo, who said that? The will being 1 degree from the ill. That's a bar as well, by the way. You know me, I love bars. And I know you like, but will, ill. Again, words are spells. Words are spells. Nothing is hidden. And And yeah, with the will being the ill, or the will being 1 degree of separation from the will, at the center of this approach is the infinite flame, the wellspring or the wellspring of energy, of infinite energy, clarity, and power. But this willpower is not an effort. It's effortless. When you're tapped into the divine spark, you know it because it becomes effortless. Power versus force. Shout out to Richard Hawkins, Maps of Consciousness. It's about presence. It's not about control, but knowing how to tune into the natural intelligence already flowing through you. It's not about control. It's about knowing how to tune into the natural intelligence already flowing in you. You are the intelligent design. You are the AI intention, attention, and intention. You are the intelligent design. It's just that sometimes that design is felt incoherently. But there is an aspect of you that is always intelligent. There is an aspect of you which is always divine. There's an aspect of you where everything is fine and all is divine. And so we have to understand how we can build pillars and foundations that allow us to propel into the infinite space, beyond space. And basically I said the 3 jewels to the crown. And what I've now got is the crown. What I worked out is what the actual crown is. Because I had the 3 jewels, but where do these 3 jewels sit? So I had these 3 jewels, obviously, that I've said before, which is will, power, and love. And the crown, that halo, is peace. That halo is peace. You're only telling me this now? I've just been notified that no one can see my screen. You know, people can tell. Oh, okay, yeah. No, I've just. That's mad. Yeah. Sorry, apologies. All this time, I thought people could see my screen, but like, yeah, I'm not even realizing that no one can see my screen. I was actually didn't think I was sharing my screen all this time. So, yeah, my wife just told me. She's watching my video. So my wife just told me that no one can see my screen. Which is weird because I can see my screen on here. I think that there may be a lag. I'm not sure. Yeah, because you press buttons. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's been 6 weeks. I've been out for 6 weeks on the YouTube and I realized that, yeah, anyway, whatever. There's just a technical issue where my screen switches when I press a certain button that shouldn't be programmed for that button. But anyway, whatever. Let's get back. It's just like literally. Anyway, whatever. All right, cool. So yeah, hopefully people will see my screen in a second because, oh, sorry, my webcam, because I said I weren't going to, yeah, of my face. Yeah. So I weren't really going to be doing, like, I had prepared a presentation, but I wasn't really going to show it. I was going to just speak it today, really. So yeah, there was only one time where I showed my screen on purpose, and that was when I did the etymology bit. But other than that, I've been trying to show my face. But like I said, there's a button that I press for something else that then swaps the camera. That's basically what the technical issue is. And it's not supposed to swap the camera or swap the screen. Anyway, let's go. So I'm basically saying that if you follow my channel, again, the quality of my consciousness, but it's also like, what is my project? My project is peace. It's a peace project. Just to be clear. So everything that I do is centered around peace. At the top of my hierarchy, if there was one, if you want to work in space and time, at the top of the hierarchy, as a reward, as a goal, as an attainment, is peace. So peace would be my crowning. Peace would be my crowning glory. And the jewels. Have you got 3 jewels here? Or is that just me? So peace. Yo, I just clocked my own symbology. Like, new level. Another level of my symbology. Peace is my crowning glory. This will symbolize that. You don't even know what this sign is. I cannot even go into what this symbol is. It's a symbol of a dragon, basically. But anyway. And then these are my 3 jewels. I didn't have 3 jewels at the time, by the way. This is just all, yo. Anyway, whatever. 3 jewels. Love, wisdom, power. Whatever. The Holy Trinity that serves the Master of Peace. And basically the 4 pillars, and now I will actually share my camera. Share my screen. Make that bigger. So yeah, we're saying that this guide, this vibrology, is structured around 4 fundamental frequencies of consciousness. So these are all frequencies, of course. And I'm basically saying is to love life. Had a mad story with that one. So my building, so one of my places, so yeah, when I say I've opened up a wellness center, to be specific, I have no permanent building. I just have places in which I can hire out and take my equipment and myself, which equals the Ma'at Vibrology Wellness Centre. So it's a mobile thing. I don't have a specific place, but I have at least 4 places set up right now, confirmed in where I live, London, basically, where I can do healing across London, basically. That's what it essentially is. And the last one I struck, which I believe is probably going to be one of, if not the most important one, who knows. I'm saying this, I've got this idea, like, love life. What else is it about other than to love? I basically realized that the reason, because I was saying the reason, because again, it's a 60-page book. So in this 60-page book, I speak about my problem and the fact that when I went to Thailand and so on and so forth and yada, yada, yada. And my point was like, I don't like people that don't love life. Obviously, I don't like people, sorry, apologies. People that express their life is hell, I just want to die and not come back. It just doesn't resonate with me. People who say the term, I just want to die and not come back. And these are spiritual people, obviously, that understand the metaphysics of that. It doesn't resonate with me because, again, it makes me feel like this was like a contract. I'm kind of almost, no, not even almost, apologies. Another one of my controversial ideas is that I'm not really on this whole idea of soul contracts. You know, I don't really feel that many people actually really know this stuff. They just like hear other people speak it and then they speak about obviously what resonates with them, which is what I do to a degree. You know, I have experienced oneness, but you know, so I don't speak from that perspective. But you know, how do you know about your soul contract? Like, I've heard it written about, but for me, your soul being soul contracts that are like on this whole, because basically it falls into the narrative of predestination, basically, where everything is written and you basically just a puppet on a string carrying out your life. So I don't speak to those ideas. Those ideas don't enliven my spirit with any truth and any energy. They're like disempowering. that's a real disempowering idea, an ideology that for me to take on. And because I don't know, look, this is the key though, because I don't know, why am I going to agree with something that I don't know? Just because the majority of people, so for me, the majority of people in spirituality that are so-called conscious, I don't even want to say so-called, because who am I? I could be wrong. I'm very happy to admit I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Makes no difference. Just a belief at the end of the day. This is just one of my beliefs. I'm happy to say I don't know, I believe. But it just sounds so disempowering that the only reason why we came down here was to basically be puppets on a string and act out something that was written already. That is unchangeable. Whereas in my ideas of oneness, my ideas of you are God, I haven't even said that so far, how I got so far into the conversation. Let's make people feel uncomfortable. You are God. So with this idea, who wrote the contract? All is self. Self is all. Why would I need to write a contract for myself that I'm going to carry out? So I can punish myself. My whole point is that I go all the way in. I would say one of the differences with me, but one of the things I'm clear about that I don't hear with so many people is I go all the way in when it comes to an ideology. If I believe in something truly, no stone gets unturned and everything has to die that doesn't fit into that narrative. Everything has to be coherent. If it's not coherent, that's a so-called problem. That's a disease. That is what I'm calling a disease, is an incoherent idea, an incoherent expression. Because all we're talking about is energy. Everything's energy. So all we're talking about is energy. Energy expresses itself based on the amplitude of its power. So I can't allow an incoherent thought. This is why I just will go offline for a whole 6 weeks, because I've sprayed myself too widely, which is what I always do because I'm a real creative person. So I go too widely and then I can feel it like starting to fray. And then I need to just cohere it all. And that just may be a time when I just need to go back within myself and go on that particular journey to refine and to retune based on the moment's message, which then allows the cultivation of wisdom. From the space, from the centered space and the centered understanding that I have a completely unique energy signature. So does everyone else, by the way. Please don't think that when I'm saying this, this is just for me. So everyone has a unique signature, but we're just basically saying that how well do you understand it? How well do you tap into it? How well do you vibrate from it? How well do you manifest from it? How well does your environment reflect that? So we love life. And then obviously we seek wisdom. So these are like two key. So like you got the word. So you got obviously like you've got love, wisdom, peace, and will. But in that seeking of wisdom then becomes that curiosity. That's where that curiosity comes in. The seeking of wisdom. And just understanding pattern. And basically we're saying that a big part of seeking wisdom based on this idea of vibrology and vibration is pattern recognition. And then what's quite an interesting one in this, is that knowing of peace. So let's just go back to here quickly. So that knowing of peace is when you cultivate inner coherence. That's what peace is inner coherence. So it doesn't really matter about your beliefs, as I said. It's, are they coherent? So again, another plug for the free masterclass, the Infinite series. It teaches you how to build a whole universe that is coherent. I can't give you anything more than that. That is my blood, sweat, and tears and my greatest ideas. at the time. Obviously, I've evolved from then because that was 3 months ago. But I did the best I could at that time to give you everything. So, what I'm essentially saying is that once you know peace, it's at that point that you want to express or expand. This is getting into the formula of consciousness, which I only built today, but I can see where it's coherent because I haven't even I haven't integrated it into these 4 pillars. So again, I could still got work to do, part 2. Check next week. But what I'm basically saying is that you don't want to express, so you don't want to expand your power until these the loving of life, the seeking of wisdom, and the cultivation of peace, the knowing peace, are in order. Because all you're going to be doing when you express your power is causing chaos. And I'm not talking about chaos from a good perspective. I'm talking about chaos from a disarray, a decoherent, disarray, entropic perspective. Like chaos in its connotative term, not the way in which I normally speak about chaos from my own lexicon. And so I'm basically saying that this expression of will, this expansion of will, is the playground in which you want to, or sorry, let's just say that all of the other functions here, all of these 3 functions cultivate the ground, cultivate the field for you to express your will. And then start to play that infinite game. Because you now know peace. I often used to say that we should have a, everyone should have a centering technique. I was like, you know, I was teaching that everyone that I teach, and I've shared it so many times, I'm just like, yeah, that's just one of the things that you should have in your back pocket is a centering technique. And you know, I had a few, and yeah, what I can reveal today, again, is I like to just share my journeys, because again, this is like this is an expression, and the best testimonials are yourself. So I'm a living embodiment of my teachers. I always want to be my best student. I always say that. I'm always going to be a better student than a teacher. And so I've been gifted with I've basically been gifted to know what peace is. Just like spiritually, I would say I don't have many spiritual gifts. Like, you know, I don't know. You could just list, I don't know, you just go to Wikipedia and just look at a list of spiritual gifts. I did that once. You know, it's like, raw. There's so many. You know, there's like 150 spiritual gifts, I don't know, on Wikipedia or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I was looking at this thing one time. Anyway, I like lists. So anyway, whatever. And you know, to a degree, I can say I don't have many spiritual gifts. You know, that's fine. That's okay. Cool. We work with what we got. But I definitely have been gifted to know peace. Like this is like a recent development, like a physical, tangible, energetic, cultivated signature that's unique to me specifically. It's like I can't teach this, basically. It's not something I could teach. It just has been gifted. It's just been opened up or expressed through hook or by crook or by luck or whatever, or by work, I don't know. But just, well, I do know actually. I just can't bother to speak about it. But I do know how I cultivated it essentially. But I didn't know that's what I was cultivating. It just, I was doing something else, and then this thing happened, and then I recognized this signal, and it kept on happening, and then now I know what it is. I know what it's forming when it happens. Again, form follows function. So luckily I'm able to read the signs. And so now I know peace. Like, I know peace. and I can generate it regardless of the situation. What's been crazy about this spiritual gift is, obviously I speak about anti-fragility. I speak about the circumstances not needing to dictate your inner. This is essentially, hopefully I'm boring you guys now because I'm getting repetitive. But I often speak, I've spoken about it today many times. Most of my videos hopefully are repetitive on this theme because it's one of my biggest. And so what I've been doing basically since I've had this spiritual gift, because I weren't sure if it was like a passing thing, because at some point it was like a painful gift. It came through as pain. Because anyway, I don't want to speak about the journey. It's just like my own personal journey. But I spoke about it, but basically it came through as pain. Like, it was painful. It was actually painful. And because I spoke about it already on one of my videos, I think maybe about 3 videos ago. When I was going through it, I was like, I'm in pain. And now I'm no longer in pain because I've been able to balance out the energy, basically. I've been able to manage this quite powerful energy. Although if I want to turn it up, I can turn it up. But again, so now, again. So anyway, but my whole point is that I've been testing it out. And I'm testing it out in environments of extreme pain, of extreme potential discoherence in the outer field, to see if I can prove my thesis, my hypothesis on how to become anti-fragile. So are all of these techniques and these exercises that I keep on sharing with people, just do the exercises. Like, here you go. Just come back, tell me if it works. I've had a few people come back, tell me it works. Even this week, someone, I watched your video, had my notes, was in practicing it, talking about how they work. That's what I want. Do the work. Did it work? Am I chatting shit or did it work? Like, who knows? I can't tell. Did it work for you? But one of the beautiful things is, I know it works for me, so I'm just teaching what works for me, and I know that a lot of these techniques that I'm teaching will allow you to cultivate a spirit and an energy that can create peace regardless of the external forces, outside forces, especially the mental and emotional attacks, which are the deepest ones, unless you are, serious physical pain. But in terms of the daily attacks, for most of us, it's emotional and mental and spiritual. And so I'm talking about those situations mainly, as opposed to physical pain and fairness. All right, cool. So I'm just going to review my notes. I'm just going to review some notes. So a chance. So yeah, basically I've written a book. Like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this book, but basically I've written like a 60-page, just call it ebook level, because it's only 60 pages. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I haven't decided. I may extend it. I'm not sure. We'll let it sit. I'll wait for the universe to tell me, basically. But essentially, this philosophy of wellness is a chance for you to see wellness not as a destination, but as a project of becoming. A call to see your symptoms as sacred messengers. That's why I needed to break down the RNA. That's what came down into my head. A call to see your symptoms as sacred messengers, your cycles as meaningful spirals, and your power as always something available when you align with your frequency. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to embody who you are and to vibrate from that place with clarity, grace, and joy. But what version is this? Oh right, okay, that was my theory of wellness. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna click on this. I'm gonna scroll through a little bit. I'm gonna go to the shorter version. All right, cool. Now let's go to the longer version. I'm literally just scrolling through these 18,000 words to see if there's anything I want to pick up on. Because it's 9:30 right now. As most people know, I normally go for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I never really time it, but sometimes I look at the time at 9:30. I try to finish by 10 basically. So and I want to try and and I'm definitely gonna finish by then, because like I said, I'm gonna do this in a 2-part. I'm gonna come back next week and I'm just gonna blow this out there. Absolute water. That's a banging one. Yo. Yeah, definitely gotta show this. Definitely gotta show this one. Definitely gotta show this one. Yeah, this book is banging that I've written. All right, yeah, I'm definitely gonna do this. All right, cool. So basically, the pillars of those 4 pillars are obvious. Like, they were obvious to me that was going to be my 4 pillars. Like, let's just say, because that was already kind of pre-written in my other works, and it was just about the coherence and just putting it all together. That was real easy to do. And Ma'at Vibrology Wellness Centre is 4 words. I have 4 pillars. It all coheres. There's a little coherence thing. I don't want to bore you lot with it, but whatever. There were also some books. There were also a couple of books that I read that just sang so perfectly to what I was speaking about. I just chose to, again, this prologue book, some other books as well. But there's this next book as well that I was gifted. Shout out to, who gave me that book again? It was who gave me the book again? Yeah, I was just making sure. Yeah, how could I forget? Sorry, yeah, no, yo. Yeah, it was Jade. Shout out to Jade. So Jade, so I go to someone's house, and anyway, she gives me this book called Bioenergetics, which I've known about for years, but I haven't read it. But I've just known about it. And basically, this book is the pioneering, or was one of the pioneering books, like 1970 something, where they were talking about vibrational healing, basically. So anyway, I read that book as well, along with this prologue book, and they just form an amazing part of the philosophy of my philosophy of wellness. So this bioenergetics book basically it's incredible, because I was just able to just infuse it with what I'm doing. So let me just show it to you. Let me just show you what I got from it, basically, because again, I always put things into my own spin, into my own language. So I can't even remember which part is their book and which part is mine, because my brain just entangles everything, quite honestly. It just synthesizes things so quick that I very rarely remember the origin of how ideas came about. Just, it is what it is. So anyway, all right, cool. So we've got this bioenergetics book. So this is part of the book, basically. So the book is by Alexander Lowen. It's written in like 1975, and it speaks about, it's kind of like the modern day. So your body keeps score. Like, that's probably like the modern day version of this book. Your body keeps score, like, and that's a very popular book that sold millions. Obviously, it speaks about it from an energetics levels. Obviously, we're into vibrology. You see the connection. The life of an individual is the life of the body. So your body is not a container, it is you. Your story, your signal, your soul made visible. At birth, we are open to breathe, feeling, movement, and expression. This is our first nature. So this particular part here, by the way, speaks very specifically about the loving of life and what we are as nature. Who we are in our primal nature. Again, fundamental metaphysics. Who we are as our primal nature is the study of fundamental metaphysics. And so this book speaks to your first nature. At birth, we are born, breathe, feeling, moving, and expressing. This is our first nature. But through trauma, through pain, through programming, through protection, we develop a second nature, a second skin. This is obviously the disassociation and the separation and the illusion of separation that then becomes restricted, braced, and disassociated. And so to love life is to return to our first nature, to de-armor and to come home. Yeah, I'm going to go in next week. That word alone, de-armor. That word alone was like a half an hour breakdown, but I'm not going to do it. So basically, the 4 betrayals of the body. So you know you're betraying your body when you have shallow breath. You know you're betraying your body when your movements are restricted. You know you're betraying your body when your feelings are numb. And you know you're betraying your body when you're suppressing your expression. I'll let you know that the one part of my, I told you, I went through a journey over the past couple of months, since I've been offline, basically, especially. It was about this. Me, myself, no one to blame. I'm not a victim. Me, myself, choosing to suppress my expressions. And me having to face the repercussions and the consequences of that. And working with that energy, that form, that signature, that sign, that signature that I was seeing. That I was seeing as a pattern that was just playing out everywhere. Absolutely everywhere in my life. And there wasn't one thing or one person to blame. There was no blame either. It was just, an acceptance of the pattern. And to recognize that in order for me to move forward, because again, I try to practice what I preach. I'm a hypocrite like everyone else, but we try to practice what we preach as much as we can, isn't it? And just recognizing that if I am going to open up a wellness center based on Ma'at, well, then I better live it even more so, even though for me it's quite natural to me. But let's just go deeper with it. How deep can we go with it? That's what this whole emotional expression was about. It's to oppose the suppression that I even have with my own emotions. And so this was basically causing a disassociation. I told you, people feeling lost. These are this is a bar. These are not conscious choices. These are unconscious defenses. Again, survival mode, fight or flight, parasympathetic nervous system. We do not betray the body maliciously. The self-sabotaging is not normally a malicious, self-harming thing. It's not normally, most of the time it's an unconscious defensive response, like an automatic response. And we abandon our first nature out of fear. We always fear what we don't know. So we abandon that nature. And so the philosophy of vibrology reframes healing not as fixing, but as remembering. That needs to be changed. It's not really about remembering, in fairness. But not as effort, but allowing. Yeah, 100%. And not as future, but as presence, or even past. And so what I've got, as usual, is I've got a little chart. I'm going to skip all this bit. I need to read that. Yeah, that just talks about Ma'at. That's decent. It's decent. I'll read a little bit. The light of the heart, the light. Yeah, so it's basically me talking about how to be light-hearted. The idea is to become light-hearted. I have all of these. Sorry, Alex. Are we speaking about you have all of these in terms of betrayals of the body? or you've healed all of these. I just need to know what I'm working with. It's all good. It don't matter. Again, there is nothing to fix. There are no problems. We're just trying to understand what vibration we've tapped into that is allowing us to focus on the project. This is what we're doing. This is all we're doing. There is no blame. It is just what it is. The isness of the moment. So yeah, I'd love to know. I have all of these. So what we're basically saying is that we go back to Ma'at. Now, obviously, my name starts with Ma'at Vibrology Centre. Ma'at becomes even before the vibrology. So balance is like literally my philosophy, you know. And we obviously speak about the lightness of the heart, Ma'at being weighed, or your heart being measured against the feather, the ostrich feather. I'm not going to break that down too much, but essentially, lightheartedness is the aim. Lightheartedness is the aim. And we understand then that the lightheartedness needs to be measured. We can measure how light your heart is. That's what this Biocoherence app will allow me to do from an ECG perspective. So now, sorry, if anyone that's never heard anything, again, this is the world that we're working into. So we've got the mentals and your heart don't lie detector test. I think we'll know more about you than you do yourself, especially if you've got repressed emotions and you have betrayed your body. So if you've betrayed your body, that's a great one. If you've betrayed your body, then this is great for you because you've betrayed your body. You probably don't even know its signals, its signs, and its messages. And so working with an app or a device, again, it's not the only biofeedback device. You can go buy any of them, but something that allows you to read your own energetic system to see if you can get in coherence, back in coherence with it, for me is the greatest gift you could give yourself, or one of the greatest gifts you could give yourself. So that's why I've literally, again, had to go offline for 6 weeks to get this up and running, the wellness center up and running, integrate everything into my metaphysics and my spiritual life coaching. Like, obviously that's a lot of work. You can't even imagine how much work I put in. Like, people don't know what it is. We do it for the love, so no problem. It's all good. So anyway, the heartbeat is an electromagnetic wave, a signal, a spark, a form of language, a song. One of the greatest metaphors I heard today or the other day from a company that does, again, biofeedback, but one of the biggest ones in the world, an established one, is they were just using metaphors of your heartbeat being a song. And so what we're doing when we're healing you, again, we're just using the word healing just connotatively, is we're just playing another song that will put your body back into resonance. That's just literally what healing is. All of the devices that I've bought that are around the that are basically frequency healing devices are about putting your body back in coherence. It's not trying to kill nothing. It's just about putting things back into coherence and then creating something from that space, from that place of peace. That's essentially it. And so you cannot think your way out of a thinking box. I've said that one before. Shout out to Ken Wheeler. It's not my line, Ken Wheeler. Shout out. To get back to truth, you must feel your way home. And so this is a beautiful graph. Again, I do say so myself. I do enjoy my tables. Yo, that's deep, bro. I don't know who this Alex Allgood is, but those are the kind of stuff that check my link tree and hit me up for a 10-minute taster session. I would love to speak to you. Honestly, just genuinely. It's free, by the way. I'm not as in, like, you know, it's what I do. I enjoy speaking to people and just breaking these things down on a real one-to-one personal level. So yeah, if you want to hit me up for free, I'll give you a taster session. You just go in for a little while until I feel ready to come off the call, basically. So yeah, We want to return to our first nature, obviously. And so we break that down, obviously, through a few different aspects, through 8 different aspects. And so we've got the breath, deep, flowing, and full, the movement, fluid, embodied, and spontaneous, the feeling, fully felt and processed, the expression, authentic, open, and alive, the heart, available, soft, and warm, and light. That's when I added back in the light as well. I was like, we need to add some light in, and then I went to the Ma'at because it wasn't linking to Ma'at, and so I had to integrate the Ma'at. That's what the bit above was. But anyway, whatever. And then the trust, innate and unforced. That trust one is incredible because obviously we're speaking about betrayal in the chat, and when the trust breaks down, it's a big one. Let's touch on it. Let's touch on some open wounds. When the touch and open wounds, like literally like a knife in the heart. The second nature's closed system fight or flight response is to withhold, is to detract, is to contract, which then forces us into a constriction that causes a guardedness, that causes a tightness. Armored. I told you, I feel like breaking that word down for half an hour. It's just not the right time for me to do that. Like, I'll go into the etymology. The etymology of that word. Yo. Again, I need to do some shorts, like where I just do these half an hour breakdowns, etymologically, metaphysically, spiritually, everything. Like this word armored. Crazy. I went in. Anyway. And then we become guarded. Most well-intentioned people that I work with are suffering from a broken heart, essentially. So to varying degrees. Are suffering from a broken heart. A broken heart that feels injustice, a broken heart that feels betrayal, a broken heart that's wounded. I have 5 wounds, but I won't speak about them now. And the automatic response I keep on hearing consistently from almost everybody, verbatim. I don't know what's going on online because obviously I'm not really online that much, but I don't know what's going on online, is I need to protect my energy, which somehow gets translated into I need to disassociate myself from everybody as a form of protection, which is all here. Armored, protection, strategic. I need a strategic removal from the situation. If I look at how much people, if I'm just like, I'm even just doing it now, I'm just like envisioning my last 20 conversations with people. Not everything is paid for, not everything is whatever, just literally my last 20 conversations where that person is expressing some form of pain, and for some reason I'm always relating it back to the heart, probably because of what I'm doing. Obviously this app thing is forming a narrative of conversation, of course. It's forcing a narrative. And the amount of times I'm hearing that the solution that this person has from a broken heart is to be strategic, is to block, is to withhold, is to disconnect as a solution. And it's made me feel uncomfortable in a good way, like as in I enjoy feeling uncomfortable, because I understand that is what's necessary. Again, if I'm getting punched, take myself outside of the firing line. But what often seems to be happening is that second nature response becomes the first nature, where it then gets encoded into their whole way of being. This is a problem, people. Major, major, major problem. Again, it's about understanding finite games versus infinite games. The second nature games that we play. So at no point am I saying that you shouldn't stop being removed from, not get out of the firing line. That would be obviously an extreme misrepresentation of what I'm speaking about. So I'm not saying that, to be very clear, to be very, very specific. What I'm saying is that that is a short-term second nature response, which is practical, and even for divine timing, you can say all of these words. It's spiritual. But that second nature being at some point is going to split itself and cause an inherent a problem, which is going to cascade. And now you're going to be creating from a place of chaos, a place of disassociation, a place where the love has been lost. So I've lost the love, or I was in love with this person hurt me, so I'm now going to close down from this person or these people or this group or this thing, this idea, it could be related to anything. And then now I only want to vibrate and move with people that show coherence and love. And you don't need anybody in the world as well, by the way. So I'm not trying to say these things are good or bad, but I'm just like, I feel like I'm working with a lot of people that have isolated themselves, and that is also now causing another problem. Because there's not many people that live in coherence. So I myself have projected or can feel decoherence, and I want to return back to myself of coherence. And so it now means I only want to be with people that are coherent. But how many people have an understanding at this level that I'm, preaching or teaching or sharing? So if you're looking to build with people at this level, it could only lead to isolation. And that's a beautiful project. The project of isolation is a beautiful one. That's a beautiful way to cultivate yourself, So again, none of these are good or bad, by the way. But I'm basically just saying that if we can build systems, again, look at the word system. If we can build systems that regardless of the situation, require us, that in our default mode, when we're feeling difficult situations, we go to our first nature. So again, I use myself a lot, quite honestly, because I say this sometimes, but like, I use myself a lot because I'm narcissistic and egotistical. Basically, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, cool. That's fine. I can take that. One of the other reasons why I talk about myself a lot is because I only know myself. I'm saying that the universe basically is basically built off of direct experience. And so the only person that I really know is myself. And so, because I'm the best student that I know, the testimonials are normally myself. It's just literally it. Because I can't really speak for how anyone else was feeling in terms of their cascade. Like, I can observe it, I can try to empathize with it and sympathize, and I can logically, I'm pretty decent actually, in fairness, in terms of getting in resonance with people. You'd hope so anyway. But like, I know my story is the key. I understand my story. And so it's just easy for me to share it. I've always got a story for every situation, or I've always got a metaphor for every situation that reflects in my life, because I mentally journal these things at the very least. So again, another story about myself. That was that segue. is in this difficult time, one of the great turning points is when I first put pen to paper about my problem. So at this time, everything was just in my head, and I was keeping things in my head. It was pretty coherent, but everything was in my head. And something forced me, let's just say, to want to cohere my thoughts in the most concise way possible. I was kind of doing a logic chain, which I teach people about. Again, I teach people about. So I basically just did a logic chain based on a thought, and I was just trying to break down, trying to get to the root of the matter, of the root of this issue that I was dealing with. And I had wrote down this thoughts. Just, I'm not even going to say what it was, because again, I'm not trying to go too personal, but I had wrote down this note. It was quite short. It wasn't that many words, but I wrote it down, and it came instantaneously. It was like, it required no thought. It was just literally boom, 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 like literally just boom, outpouring quick. Within 1 minute, it was done. And then on the back of the piece, and I was looking in my drawer, because I was looking in my drawer to get a piece of paper to write. So I was like, I actually need to write this down. Like, I haven't written nothing down. Whatever. So I'm looking at my drawer for papers. After I write the thing, I'm like, I'm really happy with what I wrote. It was beautiful. What I wrote was just incredible, incredibly painful to look at, but it was beautiful. It was coherent. Coherence is beauty. Ma'at. Balance. And I turned around a piece of paper. I was like, and I clocked. I was like, oh, I wonder what I wrote on, because everything I know is spiritual. So I was like, I wonder what I wrote on. So I opened up the piece of paper, because the paper was folded, basically. It was a folded piece of paper. I opened up the piece of paper. I can't remember what. I think it was this thing. There's one of my technologies that I bought years ago called a still point inducer. You Google it. I don't think they even sell it anymore. I'm not even sure. There's something called a still point inducer. I don't want to get into it too much, but just go Google it. I just don't want to go off on a tangent. But like, yeah, you can tell what it is. It is what it just says. It is what it says on the tin. A still point inducer. And so this was the manual. So what I'd written on was the manual for a still point inducer. Still point inducer is peace, by the way. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, rah, that's nuts. And I'm just reading the manual for this still point inducer, which I actually don't really use that much, but like, it is what it is. It's in my drawer. And then at the bottom is their slogan. And the slogan is, care without compromise. So I'm going through a ridiculously difficult time. You could argue it could be observed that, let's just put it that way. And the message that is in the back of this piece of paper, where I expressed my deepest thoughts that were on my mind, that was a culmination over a period of time. On the back of it says, care without compromise. And bruh, reach out to me. I know Alex can be a girl's name as well, but reach out to me. Genuinely, I want to get so big that I have moderators, and I can say, moderator, put my link tree in the chat, because like, if I'd go do it now, it'd take me like 10 seconds to go get it up. I don't want to interrupt the rhythm, but yeah, on my YouTube channel, you must be able to find it. Any one of my videos, but yeah, genuinely reach out to me. Like, I do the work. Let's do some work. Let's just go in. Let's just do some work. So anyway, care without compromise. And so it would have been easy for me to do this second nature stuff with my heart. Guarded, tight, armored. To feel betrayed or whatever, or however I was feeling, and conditional, withheld. It was so easy. And in these moments of difficulty, I was reminded to push through, and to know that this is the perfect opportunity for me to practice this love and light, kumbaya, because it's not a kumbaya thing. These are not easy moments. So it's not a kumbaya thing, but like, open up my heart at this moment in time. When I'm feeling so that's vulnerability. That's like, I'm feeling vulnerable, and the call that was in the back of this card, you know, everything is divine timing. There was no coincidence that was the piece of paper that I pulled out from the drawer. Care without compromise. You know. Love the ones you wouldn't dare. Love the ones you wouldn't dare. I have said that before, by the way. That's one of my favorite songs ever. That's probably why it's my favorite song ever, because when I heard that line, I was like, what the Ross? That sounds alien. I must go try that. Love the ones you wouldn't dare. I'll go play that song after this, because I feel peace. I just said that line. I can feel peace. I'm not joking. I feel peace right now. Feel it right now. I literally can feel it physically. Like I said, I got this signature. I can feel it. What a life we live. What a life we live. It's a real thing, man. This is a real life. I am a real person with a real body, with a real soul, with a real breath, with a real blood, or as real as it can be, they say. I like that line. So just wrapping up this biocoherent. So then this was the integration. So this was my like little, okay, so then how do we integrate vibrology, bioenergetics, and then biocoherence? So we're saying that bioenergetics opens the system. The system is the heart, the central system. Biocoherence, the feedback, the biofeedback device measures it. And then we now have a sacred mirror that ancients spoke of, not symbolic, literal. Does your body resonate with openness? Does your heart beat with Ma'at's feather? Is your nervous system operating from fear or flow? The heart does not lie. It's impossible. It's impossible for the heart to lie. Remember that one. It is impossible for the heart to lie. The heart doesn't lie. It pulses truth, and biocoherence reads it in real time. And so in the bioenergenetics book, I enjoyed this part of the book because it just spoke about, again, the feeling of that first nature. The feeling of your first nature. So this would be a signature to know that the quality of your consciousness, let's not forget that one as well, let's tie that in. Because again, I wrote all of this stuff without really going heavily into the quality of consciousness stuff, which again is more of a today thing, more of a today build. Although I had the idea already, obviously, because it was in the book. But freedom is the absence. So we've got freedom, grace, and beauty as the biomarkers, the signatures of coherence, the signatures of vibrology, the signatures of bioenergetics, all the same to me, as you know. So freedom is the absence of inner resistance. Grace is movement made effortless, and beauty is harmony revealed. In that word, beauty is balance, by the way, just to be clear. People didn't know that. Beauty is balance. So beauty is Ma'at. Harmony is Ma'at. Balance is Ma'at. If anyone is in London and wants the book, like I said, I haven't even started to promote it yet. Just still building the content. So by next week, I will be back onto getting clients and stuff. But for now, I still got a few bits of content that I want to develop. Basically, that's what I'm kind of in the process of doing. But that will be finished by the weekend, and then next week we'll be into fully operational mode. So I have opened it, but I'm not really promoting it that hard right now. So these are not goals. Again, there's no more goals. There's no more end goal. It's in the moment, present living. These are not goals. These are side effects of being open. And I would say in the moment, the side effects of being present. So I feel like I'm going to wrap up now. I got 8 people on the chat and literally 10:05. That's a beautiful time. It means I can have a cup of tea. Watch some You. Chill out, watch some You. You know about that program? You know, that program's nuts. That guy is delusional. Yo. He's almost perfectly coherent. Anyway, yo, no, that's a sidebar. I'm never gonna start. Catching jokes. Apologies. What am I looking at? No, I'm not reading that. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I think I'm finished. I feel like I've eaten enough. Yeah, no. Yeah. I basically haven't read. Yeah. I haven't went through more than 20% of even scrolling through this document, this 18,000 word document. I haven't even scrolled through 20% of it. But obviously I started with a summary. So that summary was the summary, but obviously we break these components down way deeper with frameworks and practices and exercises and all that good stuff that I do. But yeah, that'll be more for next week. Next week I'm going to give you a lot of formula and some exercises as usual. So today is just laying the foundations for the theory, the fundamental metaphysics. And then next week, we'll be back with a formula, like real useful. Like it's going to be so useful. Like I kind of use it already, but like there were just certain angles that just based on reflection I've added to. So I would say for myself, evolutionary as opposed to revolutionary. I would say it's kind of just again about cohering these ideas and putting them into one formula that is banging. So yeah, really enjoyed this conversation. I definitely did what I wanted to do, which was just to go in. So I never know around time. I don't work with time, obviously, you know, so I couldn't care less that I've only went through 20% of my notes. It is what it is. I don't even want to scroll through to bring up anything else. Get into your first nature. What more is there to say? Tap into the first nature of self, which is your true self. If we want to speak about this disassociation is the second nature. But even your second nature is still you. It is just a second order expression of the self. It is still the self. So there is no disassociation. Open and closed are part of the same coin. Just to be clear, like again, so your second nature is not evil. It's part of the project. It's part of the process. It's part of the transformation. If everything was perfect, what would be there to improve? What would be there to grow? What would be there to then really even express? I'm not sure. You can answer that one yourself. So, yeah. So yeah, the biofeedback. That's what I was speaking about. Remember when I was speaking to you, and I was like, oh, there's business opportunities. Well, this is what I was speaking about basically. So, yeah, if you are, because what I've just done is I've laid down the philosophy of it. I have not even shown this app. There's just there's another video you got. I'll send you a link to the actual video that speaks about the app and what it does. Because I'm not here to promote the app. I'm just speaking about the principles of trying to understand your heart, which is your central system, or the system of your soul, or what people will call the seat of your soul. So I'm not really specific, but yeah, we'll chop it up anyway later on. I'm sure we're gonna build. So yeah, peace and love, everyone. Alex, genuinely, I would love for you to reach out to me, but I can't force that. That is up to you. But my door is open, and so is my heart. And so when I see a soul that feels dangerous and scared and is using terminologies like life, like a knife in the heart, and uses words like betrayal, this is why I do what I do, because I genuinely want to understand why you feel like that. What is okay, look, this is literally what I'm thinking now. I'm giving you like real time. I'm not going to go into your specifics, and I don't want to know your specifics like that now. Let's chop that up another time. But genuinely, this is what my mind is going to. This is how my mind works. I'm genuinely thinking when I see those keywords, because words are spelling. Yeah. So obviously words are spells. So I'm trying to understand what is the magic in your life that those words are pointing to. So everything is divine, all is fine. But these feelings, these expressions are true expressions because you said them. So this is not for me to dismiss them as not being true. Your experience is 100% correct. You feel what you feel. But can we take a bird's eye view of the project, of why you resonate right now with these words like knife, like betrayed, like dangerous, like scared? How is that speaking to your life project? How is that speaking to your mission? How is that speaking to your because that's what you're resonating with. So you're resonating with these words. And so what I'm able to do, or what I will try to do, or endeavor, let's just use the word endeavor. Oh, what a great word. I should use that more. What I endeavor to do, intend, is understand how that realization, how that relevance can be turned into a realization. What is that revealing about your project, about your mission, about why a self that, and all that is self, and a self that is all, why it would allow a space for these words, these feelings, these experiences to be expressed. Why is that? So obviously I have no idea right now, like zero. I'm not a psychic, as everyone knows. I don't have any psychic abilities to a degree. I think I've got like 1% psychic abilities. I don't know, who knows? But I can understand the pattern. I can recognize a pattern ridiculously quickly. And so I'm just going to read what you're saying. And so, yeah, that's why people should reach out to me. Basically, this is why I feel like I'm in a good position to help people, because I take a bird's eye view like very few could, through my tools and just through my life work, because I feel it has been shaped. Form follows function, has been shaped to do this naturally where it feels like it's easy. So that's what I'm having problems seeing, the bird's eye view. Okay, cool. Well then, so I just literally told you, this is what I do. So yeah, reach out to me. I can't force that. I'm actually going to try and find my link tree in the chat now. You could just paste it. Where's my link tree? I should know my link tree. Oh no, it will come up in my thing. It doesn't take me that long to get my link tree up, actually. It took me 3 seconds. There you go. There you go. So yeah, there's my link tree in the chat. I think that's is that the full link tree? No, that didn't copy the full one. How did I not copy full? So let me go back to that again. Link tree. But yeah, we are wrapping up. But again, this is what I really enjoy to do is speaking to people, working with people, helping people. You know, this is all part of the work. So let's go to work. But yeah, other than today, because right now, like I said, I want a cup of tea and watch some TV, chill with the missus, and then be gone. So, all right, cool. So yeah, link is in the chat. Go grab that up. But yeah, peace out, people, man. Much love and peace. I will that everyone's week is. I will that everyone's strong. I will that everyone's strong allows them to cultivate the quality of their consciousness. And with that being said, there is no more to be said. And so peace. Peace.